Hello everybody, today it's True Detective here talking to you about something rare. It's possible that on planet Earth time right now, there's only couple, maybe handful, under 100 individuals that have experienced this stuff. And it's about the third eye. The third eye. There's so many videos about the third eye on YouTube, and most of them completely useless for you. Maybe they help you to understand that there's such a possibility that maybe human beings could have a vision or see out there or actually in there something that has different set of rules and doesn't follow any ways that we can describe it. That's what we're dealing with. It's something that is unfathomable to the way we have learned to live our life in the outside. So, first of all, we have two sets of eyes. Can you believe this? And we are being veiled. We are being veiled by sophistication, systems, human ingenuity, and first of all, civilization. We are being veiled from ever reaching any visionary experience. Visionary phases of dreams and visuals. What we're talking about though here is that imagine that when you closed your eyes, you didn't see blackness, but you saw another world. That's what happens in dreams. Most of all, dreams, usually they are just mixings or splittings and recombinations of old memories. And over here, in the visionary phase of the meditation of dreams, we might realize that human memories are not stored as they are experienced. This is one of the deepest realizations from this exercise. Human memories are stored detached from their backgrounds. If you have Garfield here, you can take Garfield off his background. If you have Serena Williams playing tennis over here, you can take her off the background, and in mind space time, where all these stuff loads, when it's recalled from these pieces, and we normally cannot access that memory. We cannot access where memories are like on a canvas or a silver screen, just detached, broken apart, and all over the place. Imagine seeing your memory space on a map of Call of Duty. Your whole life on a map of Call of Duty, and none of the size compared to the background matches at all. That's what we're dealing with in the deep parts of human memory. It's the more conscious mind that we have, where memories can be recalled as they were experienced. The real question over here, were they actually ever experienced that way? Or was it just a hoax? Is reality combined out of a very different set of experiences and data than how we experience it? Well, next I'm going to talk about the method. This is what I did. And we're not supposed to do this, but I did it. First of all, eating a meal after waking up. Then just drinking liquids as that meal has digested. Quitting drinking those liquids and getting rid of all saliva in the mouth. Meditation and the dream program. Electronic music playing on the background while sleeping. I went into the Matrix. And in the Matrix there were individuals that tried to talk to me. But the electronic music was so loud that I didn't hear no shit through it. They were just like screaming at me, but I was not capable of taking the headphones off. I tried to take the headphones off like again and again and again in the dream, but I was not able to take them off to hear what they were saying. So we had to use facial expressions to communicate in the Matrix. And after I concluded I can't communicate with these individuals, I glided on the floor. And I saw a computer system with Matrix-like letterings in it. Green on a black background. And I glided and went through that. And found myself from that faraway world in my home. And I thought that now I have awakened. Because I was lucid there. I realized that this is a dream, but it's a type of a dream that I won't wake easily out of. And I can do anything I want. So I glided on the floor. I found myself at my home. And there was somebody who was very mad at me for going into the Matrix. And I felt this pull. Like gravity. Pulling me from the back of my mind back into reality. I woke up here as me in my bed where I fall asleep in. And I realized that it's impossible to wake up from the Matrix. It's impossible to wake up from a Matrix. It's also possible that we have a higher level body, asleep somewhere else. And we won't wake up from there until we die. So there's temporary dream states, and there's this reality experiencing that has continuity, where we can get injured and all stuff like that. But there's something higher than that. And when we go to the visionary phase of meditation, which is awakening upwards, we might experience visions that are otherworldly, hard to describe with words. Worlds that have real stuff happening in them, real beings, but are so hard to describe with the language because, first of all, they are not objects like we have seen them before in this world. And second of all, they do not exist in the same type of a space. It's more of a world like in a Picasso painting. That art form, cubism. That's how memories are kind of stored, or they can be accessed. Who knows how they are really laid out in the brain. But a human being is the privacy machine, the extreme privacy machine of storing of memories in this way. And we have tried to break out of that by creating shared experiences. Going to the church and playing Call of Duty. What's the difference of that? Well, what's same in there is that it's both of them are shared experiences. We try to break out of our own limited way experiencing reality. But even in the games, we still want to keep that individuality of a body, this character, this player. We want to keep that alive. And these memories are stored in a different part of the brain. If you have played video games and you have quit them a long time ago, you remember, at least I remember, them almost never anymore. And yesterday, when I was in a dehydrated state of meditation, in this visionary mind bombing, I saw dragons and mountainscapes and deserts with huts, little windows, lights behind there, closed eyes, dark room, this light just from the inside, and all kinds of stuff. Mixed some stuff that I have never seen with my memories, and video games, movies, memories, they're dislodged from their backgrounds, existing in the same fucking space, I mean in the same window of my mind, just all there. It's very hard and rare for anybody to go for after such an experience. You wouldn't even think that it's possible to go after such an experience. And there's more. It goes deeper. There's left brain and there's right brain visionary phase, thoughts and thinking. And for some reason, dehydration, because when you really think about reality, is our body really made out of water? Yeah, is our body really made out of water? Well, in dehydration, there's more of a visual, more right-brained way to think and way to experience. And at some point, it's no longer imagination what we're doing or what we're dealing with. You're just receiving these images and these visions. It's kind of like just being veiled, and then you start to see through that. Seeing through that. It's just blackness in there. For whatever the reason. Maybe that's in the interest of some Freemasons, because I saw some fucking Freemasons there. The third eye. That's what the Freemasons talk about. It's in their symbolism too. And it's a world that it's very hard to recount from, remember from, take anything worthwhile into this life from. And when falling asleep, there are sequences. And the dream world has portals. And a dream starts the farthest way from reality. Or it's a kind of a loop, like an elliptical circle that we go. And we go very far from reality, going through portals. This could be taught as movie scenes. And as we go from scene to scene, or portal to portal, we forget what happened in the last block of that dream. And as we might be able, with this method of mine, remember further there, we could see stuff that we have never seen before, experience worlds we have never seen before. It's only the closest part of waking up. It's only the closest chain in the link, so to say, the closest portal or the scene that we usually might remember when we wake up, and that's almost like just these memories of ours during the day are being rearranged and the mind is doing its thing. But there's deeper stuff than that. This is not the only world there is. And The rules of this world don't apply there. And I can't explain why. For example, when I was in that state of just visionary experiences and visions flowed into my mind, just like non-stop, just bombing off that shit. Dragons, all kinds of otherworldly formations and shapes. And then I started to feel constipation because I was so dried up and this pain here. I decided I had to quit. And I drank this. And this is anti-spirituality in a bottle. The fooding system is very anti-spiritual. This can get you out of that space if you have went there in almost a minute's time. It's just pitch blackness again. Kind of like being whaled by fat. And I wonder why they want us to not know about this. Well, now you know about it. You shouldn't do it. It's kind of like being an astronaut. Not a psychonaut. What I'm talking about over here is stronger than weed. And I have taken this to the absolute furthest extreme it can be taken, while being still moderately safe. And it was honestly, it was as there were two worlds. And I could see both of them. And they were as real, the stuff in my mind's eye. The real funny fact is that we can't live in that world. And how God would see all of this. For God, it's even more expansive. It's probably 360 degrees. It's some kind of an ultimate ball of consciousness. There's so much that God experiences there and keeps track of. It goes beyond boundaries of time. And that's what is happening over here. The time is kind of breaking down, and everything experienced and everything potentially out there gets displayed at the same time. Kind of like a collage of memories. What we can do science about, we can't probably do science about the spiritual aspects of it. What we can do science about is how are these memories actually stored? There's probably a way. Because now I have realized that you can access memories in the brain in a much different manner than how we usually experience them. Of course I don't know about you. Of course I don't know any of you guys. I don't know what you go through and I don't know how you experience stuff. But stuff like this is never talked about. Stuff like this is almost never discussed anywhere. And I think this method works, and I have been doing this dream experimentation and mind space exploration sober, by the way. Of course you can come over here with your psychonaut attitude and say that I smoked DMT and it was not like that at all. Well, what happens over there is that you completely lose touch of the reality that you experienced that trip from. Here you don't. It never goes quite as deep because you're still there. You're a human being there. It's not the same as that, and because of that it's more lucid. Because of that it's more clear, and because of that it's more credible. And I believe that because of that it's also much more recreatable. Of course, drug experiences are recreatable too, but what we are dealing with over here is not inputting something into the body and getting a whole of weird output. Here we are really taking inputs out, stuff like the anti-spiritual milk. We're taking those inputs out of the body and experiencing something because there's not that input influencing the body. What I also realized that the verbal thought, because there's two sides to the visionary experience. There's the verbal side, the left brain, and there's the visual side or the visionary side, the right brain. What I realized is that the left brain thinking can be influenced to be and to be thinking certain thoughts, especially with food items, drugs, whatever. Words themselves, what you think about, can be influenced by this sort of stuff. How you think about what reality is worth and what it's not. It's a worldview. This is a worldview that they sell you in the grocery store. It's a view and a state of mind that they place us in. It affects so many parts of the body. It's quite funny that it's even legal to sell that kind of stuff. Food is drugs. Yeah. And it can influence the verbal part, everything that you input here. Can influence the verbal part of your mind much better. And when you're very attached to that part of your mind that speaks these thoughts, you become that. You become that because it exists quite a bit like in this part of the brain, like this front part. But with this exercise, we are able to take the verbal part and move it back here. Move it back here. And it feels like kind of the thinking goes on, but you're no longer thinking about it. You are not the one that thinks those thoughts. And bringing that thought again now to the foreground and realizing that all small changes change the truth. I mean, the truth changes, how truth can be verbalized changes. But the right brain can only be oppressed. It can be only silenced, or I don't want to use the word blinded, but veiled. The right brain can be hindered. The left brain can be influenced. This is also a great and a big realization from this. I hope that this video, which is very deep, it goes deeper than most have gone, put some gears into motion, and you can take a stance of science to this, or you can take the spiritual stance to this. Most spiritual teachers don't teach any of this stuff. For them it's just enlightened or not. It's much deeper than this. Thanks for watching this video, and let's see how deep the rabbit hole goes next time.